Hello, Steve Ness here with golfing and real estate. So today we're going to do some house maintenance. So we have a light fixture by the front walk that's out. What's really out is it's hardwired, and sometimes the light just stays on. The fixture actually got broken by the landscapers, needs to be replaced. So couldn't figure it out for the longest time, walking around flipping switches trying to figure out how to turn this light off. The only way to turn it off is replace the thermal photo sensor. So this little guy is bad. Instead of just replacing this, we're going to replace the whole unit. So we went to, and this is the brand new light fixture that we're putting in. Has 3 LED lights that go inside there, and picked that up at Home Depot. Special. Pretty nice little unit. My wife wants it instead of being on the ground. Usually these are posts that sit up about 5-6 feet, you know, with something like this on there, which is kind of nice. She doesn't want it that far up in the air. She wants it kind of at that 2-foot level, kind of the knee height, you know, where you're just gonna bump into it and you're gonna scream, go, ah! That's what she wants. Happy wife, happy life. Just remember that. So I'm gonna give her what she wants. So what you're gonna need something to mount it. So PVC plastic tubing, easy fix. I'm just gonna cut this off here. Got a coupler that fits up perfectly inside there. Be able to glue that in with some glue. You're gonna need something to cut that with. So, you know, the easiest way is just go get yourself a miter box and a saw. If you don't have one, if you don't have an electric saw, just go do that. Some of the other things that you're gonna need is some wiring nuts. And I'm sure some of that stuff comes in here. I haven't opened this up, but we will take a look at that. You're gonna need some LED lights, of course, because typically when you buy these, they don't come with the LED lights. And then the photo sensor with a 7/16 hole. So you're gonna need to get yourself some bits with a 7/16 and a drill. So that makes that easy. So we'll figure out where we're gonna put that. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit later once we kind of get my wife to approve the height that she wants this at. Then we'll drill that hole and we'll put that in. The other things that we're gonna need is, and you probably need maybe some wire if we gotta extend that wire just a little bit. I like to solder all my fittings, so if you use your favorite solder iron. And then the other thing that I like to do after I solder, just instead of just regular black tape or wire nuts, I solder everything up, and I usually put the heat shrink around it. That way you don't have to worry about anything on that end. So let's get right into it. Let's start working on this. Let's start putting everything together. I'll start assembling. And so folks, as you can see, I got the light. There's a photo sensor that's bad on the back side of this, actually down in the bottom here. So this light is gonna stay on non-stop because the photo sensor is bad. So we're gonna replace this, and we're gonna raise this up to about whatever height that my wife wants me to raise it at. So Mary, yeah. You got a second and you want to tell me like how high this fixture, let me go grab the fixture, how high that you want it. So I'm down here going to replace this light that's constantly on. The reason why it's constantly on is because that photo sensor, thermal photo sensor, isn't working correctly. So we're going to replace it with this lamp post here, and we're going to raise it up to the height that my wife wants it to be. Now typically if I just put this on, it'd be about this high, and the landscapers have been kind of hard on this light. It's been broken a couple times. That's why it probably needs to be replaced. She doesn't want it to be all the way up. She wants it to be about I'm guessing this high, about 2.5 to 3 feet. So I'm going to put a new post in here, 2.5 to 3 feet. So one of the things that you got to do before you start working on this, you got to make sure that this light is off completely from the breaker box. So I'm going to go start flipping switches until it goes off. Okay, it's off. Now it means it's safe to actually work on it. But I still use a little bit of caution. I still use my gloves that have rubber coating on it. So let's take this apart and see what we have. Take the light out. So a couple little things. I like to use these rubber gloves when I'm using wiring or anything like that. Just a little extra insulation. Let's take this apart. Another thing that's kind of nice is I'm getting old. You know, a little foam for the knee. So let's take this off and see what we have on here. Watching me, see if I can zap myself. All right. Well, it looks pretty simple and forward. We got wiring. Let's pull that up. Old fixture. Don't need that anymore. Get this off, and then separate. We got 3 wires coming in. We got black, which is our neutral, white, which is our hot, and the bare copper wire is ground. And in here I got to take off the photo sensor out of here. I'm gonna need the pliers to screw that because there's a lot of caked on dirt and stuff like that. So let me go grab that. So got my handy dandy adjustable vice grips. Just get this going. Take this photo sensor off. Make sure these wires are away from touching. And there's the bad photo sensor. So that's junk. So now, let's see if we just put the old cap on. Let's test fit that tubing and see how that kind of fits first. I'm gonna go grab that big stick of PVC. Be right back. So, we're at the point where we gotta decide now what to do. So, we're gonna have to figure out the height. So the nice thing is I got a coupler because it's the same size plastic tubing. So we're gonna just extend that plastic tubing. So I'm gonna take this, we're gonna end up gluing that on there, get that on there. And then we have this, and then this tubing, the stick, is gonna go basically same size. That ain't gonna work. Well, me being a thinking guy, I got a coupler. Let's try this. So sometimes things just don't always work out the way you think it's gonna work out. So we put the coupler on there. Then this. And take this tape. Let's just say we cut it. This is kind of where the there's writing. I don't have to sand it if I cut below that, which kind of works out kind of nice. And if we got it about that height, I think we'll start there. And if my wife doesn't like it, I'll cut it down a little bit. So I was cut a little long and then short. And we'll go from there. So let's cut it there. So let's get that thing cut. So got the miter box and the saw here. Let's make our cut where we made our tape mark. Voila. Throw that down there. And let's fit this together. About that height. So that would be not quite. Let's see if my wife approves. I'll get her out here and give me the thumbs up or thumbs down.
Oh, look at you.
How's that for height?
I like it.
Waist high?
I like
good?
it. Yeah, I like it.
No shorter, no longer?
I don't think so. Let me step back a little bit.
All right. I'm getting the thumbs up from my wife. So, it looks like hole is not quite what it says on the box. Well, let's just test it with some cardboard. Put a hole in there first before we, yes. So, looks like 3/8 bit is the perfect size. So where's that hole? Let's just redo that hole with 3/8. Simple. Just a little tight, so. Bring it out a little bit, not much. Don't overdo it. There, perfect fit, nice and tight. Put our rubber O-ring on. And then we got our nut. Taking that up. So now we need to go from there to the top of here. So we're going to need to cut some wire. So I need 3 wires to cut this length. So let's wrap them with wire. So I don't like going from wire nut then to another wire nut. So I am going to definitely solder these wires together. Makes it a little safer and I just feel better. So, cut a little longer. Better to have more than less. Catch your white. Get a little neutral out, down. Cut. All right. So I like to strip off 1/2 twist it. Just a couple twists are fine. Twist. Now I need to go get my copper wire or green. It'll be neutral. All right, let me go do that. I'll be right. So let's get to wiring. We got our post on here. We wired the bottom half, got it all soldered up. Wired nut in. So I need more heat shrink. And I like using about maybe a little bit of over an inch. A couple of these. We're just gonna stick them down. Like this. These. So first thing is the wire's coming up to the photosensor. So we need to put hot. Matter of fact, I like using my gloves. Okay, I'm back. I think we're ready to start wiring. I'm gonna get my gloves on. A little extra protection because I'm gonna do some soldering. Don't want to burn my fingers, just in case. And wet wires are hot, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna gather up all the wet wires. We got the photo sensor, light fixture, and then the hot wire coming in. Give them a twist. Let's see if our heat shrink this size will fit down on there. Yes, does nicely. Holds that all together. My soldering iron. I'm gonna hold my soldering tip towards the back of the wire and heat this up. I prefer this method over the wire nuts. Just help it give a little extra strength so it doesn't pull apart. Gives a nice strong seal. All right. Let's take now. One thing when you do that heat shrink, if it's too short or too close to it, it does heat up. Now I got that shrunk, so I'm just gonna have to cut a little bit more. And sometimes I'll use a wire nut and just take and screw a wire nut on there like that, which, you know, let's do this one with a wire nut. Let's nip off a little bit of the end here. Let me get that on there nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. That's a good connection. All right, let's work on the next connection. So we need black going to black here, and then red going to our black, to our light. So I'll get that all set up and then go from there. Let me, you don't want to sit there and watch me think around with this, so I'll skip ahead for you. Okay, I'm back. Let's start soldering. Get my solder out here. solder up the ground here. This soldering up a red to black, the light from the photo sensor. Black to black. From our neutral to neutral to light. Make sure that solder flows throughout the entire wiring. Check it. Outside. There you got some good connections. Now all we gotta do is heat shrink the black and the black to use it a little better. And that's it. Now all I gotta do is put the light on the post, get my wife's approval, and wait until dark and see if it works. Well, through the magic of video editing, all I got left is to put the LED bulb in, and screw the cap on, and then go turn the power back on, and wait till this evening to see if everything I did works. Well, folks, time to check and see if my light actually turned on. And voila. It's on, looks good, lights up the whole walk area here as I come through. Oh yeah. Doesn't it look nice? I'm gonna go get my wife, see if she approves. See what she says.
Come on.
So the real test is, does my wife approve? So.
Now we gotta do something about that, but that's just paint.
Yep.
I gotta step back.
I think she does.
Oh, that looks good.
She does. So, hey, success.